What if I told you that the reason your manifestations feel stuck has nothing to do with your technique and everything to do with one missing ingredient? Most people think gratitude is what you feel after something good happens. But here's what they're not telling you. Gratitude isn't the response to receiving. It's the signal that activates receiving. The universe doesn't wait for you to get what you want before it delivers. It waits for you to vibrate as if you already have it. And gratitude, real gratitude, felt before anything shows up, is the frequency that collapses the timeline where your desire already exists. This isn't just spiritual talk. This is quantum mechanics at work. By the end of this video, you'll understand why gratitude is the most powerful manifestation tool you've been overlooking, and how to use it to finally unlock what's been waiting for you.
There's an old story about a traveler who found himself stranded in the middle of a vast desert. No water, no shelter, just endless sand, stretching in every direction. Days turned into a blur of heat, thirst, and exhaustion. His hope was fading fast. Then, one evening, right before his legs gave out completely, he dropped to his knees in the sand, and instead of begging for help, instead of crying out in desperation, he whispered something unexpected. He said, "Thank you for the water that's about to come to me." That very night, rain poured down from the sky. Not because he pleaded, not because he searched harder, but because in that single moment, his energy shifted from lack to completion. He stopped vibrating as someone waiting to be saved. He started vibrating as someone who had already received. And that's the secret most people miss. Real gratitude, the kind that actually moves energy, doesn't happen after the miracle. It is the miracle. It's the unlocking mechanism, the activator, the green light the universe has been waiting for. We've been conditioned to think gratitude is polite, a nice thing to say after someone does something kind for us, a social courtesy, a pleasant emotional response when life finally goes our way. But that's not how the quantum field works. The field doesn't operate on politeness or timing. It operates on resonance, on vibrational match, on coherence. And gratitude, when you feel it before the gift arrives, becomes one of the most coherent frequencies you can broadcast into the field of infinite possibility. Here's the paradox nobody talks about. Most of us sabotage our own desires not because we don't want them badly enough, but because we refuse to feel grateful until we can see them. We think it's premature. We think it's fake. We think we'll jinx it if we celebrate too soon. So we wait. We watch. We wonder. And while we're doing all that waiting, we're actually sending out a very clear signal to the quantum field. That signal says, I don't have it yet. I'm still separate from it. It's still out there, not in here. And the field, in its perfect neutrality, reflects that frequency back to you with stunning accuracy. It doesn't judge you. It doesn't punish you. It simply mirrors who you are being, not what you are wanting. That's the difference most people never understand. You don't receive the thing and then feel aligned. You feel aligned first, and then the thing has no choice but to show up. Gratitude isn't a reward you give yourself after manifesting. It's an instruction you give to the field before anything moves. Let's talk about the trap, the one most people fall into without even realizing it. When you spend your days focused on what's missing, even subtly, even quietly, you're living in the vibration of separation. You're reinforcing to the universe, I am not whole yet. I am not complete. I am waiting for something outside of me to make me feel okay. And the field listens. It always listens. It takes that vibration and says, okay, you're someone who's waiting. Let me give you more experiences that match that frequency. But the moment you choose to feel grateful now, right now, before the evidence shows up, something quantum happens. You collapse the illusion of time. You stop projecting your desire into some distant future, and you start embodying the version of you who already has it. And when you do that, when you stabilize in that vibration, the universe doesn't have a choice. It has to adjust. Not out of kindness, not out of luck, but out of pure coherence. Because coherence is what the field responds to, not noise, not repetition, not volume, just clean, clear, stable resonance. Think of gratitude like this. It's an address. When you say thank you before receiving, you're telling the quantum GPS system exactly where you live. You're giving it coordinates. You're saying, I live in the vibration of wholeness. I live in the frequency of completion. I am someone who already has what I desire. And manifestation, at its core, is just delivery to that address. The universe isn't withholding anything from you. It's just waiting for you to give it the right location. But if you're vibrating in, I'll believe it when I see it, your signal is saying, I don't live there yet. I'm still over here in lack. And so the delivery stays pending. The package stays in transit, not because you're doing something wrong, but because you haven't stabilized in the frequency of having received. Now, let's zoom out. Why does gratitude matter so much in the manifestation process? Because it fundamentally changes the observer. And in quantum mechanics, the observer is everything. Particles exist in a state of infinite possibility until they're observed. But here's the key. The nature of that observation, the emotional state, the energetic frequency of the person doing the observing, that influences what gets collapsed into reality. Gratitude isn't just a feel-good emotion. It's a quantum lens. It's a filter. It's the state through which your awareness shapes what becomes real. When you observe your life through the lens of gratitude, you don't just feel better. You literally select better outcomes. You tune into higher probability fields. You align with timelines where things work in your favor. But let me be clear. Gratitude doesn't work when it's forced. It's not a technique you perform. It's not another box to check on your spiritual to-do list. Real gratitude has to be embodied. It has to be felt so deeply in your body, in your heart, in your nervous system, that it becomes who you are, not just what you do. Because gratitude isn't a state you visit occasionally. It's a frequency you live in, and that frequency isn't passive. It's not soft. It's powerful. It's magnetic. It's organizing. It attracts not by reaching out and pulling things toward you, but by matching the vibration of what you want so perfectly that it has no choice but to show up. The moment you start living from gratitude, you begin collapsing the timeline where you already have the thing you've been asking for. Not because you manipulated anything, not because you tricked the universe, but because you finally matched it. You finally became resonant with the reality you've been trying to force into existence. Let me ask you something. What if the only reason your manifestations feel delayed isn't because you lack clarity? What if it's not because your technique is wrong or because you're not doing enough? What if it's simply because you haven't felt the arrival yet? What if the signal hasn't stabilized long enough for the quantum field to collapse the version of reality you're asking for? What if gratitude is the one switch you forgot to flip? Take a breath. Let that sit with you for a moment. What are you waiting to feel grateful for? Is it love? Is it freedom? Is it financial abundance? What if, right now, you gave yourself permission to feel it? Not hypothetically, not someday, but now, emotionally, fully, with tears if they come, with chills if they rise, with the unshakable certainty in your bones that it's already done. Because here's the quantum truth nobody wants to hear. The universe doesn't reward delay. It doesn't care how patient you've been. It responds to decisive energy. And few energies are more decisive than gratitude. Imagine waking up tomorrow and thanking reality as if the shift has already occurred. Imagine moving through your day, no longer begging for change, but broadcasting completion. Imagine writing in your journal, "Thank you for the overflowing bank account," before the numbers ever shift. Imagine whispering, "Thank you for the love I feel right now," before another person even enters your life. That version of you, the one who lives like that, already exists. Gratitude is simply how you become them. And from that frequency, life doesn't resist you. it responds. Not because you figured out some hack, but because you became coherent with the version of reality you were always meant to live. And this is just the beginning. In the next part of this journey, we're going to dive into what gratitude does to your brain, your body, and your electromagnetic field. And when you see the science behind it, when you understand the biological shifts happening inside you, when you feel real appreciation, you'll never treat gratitude the same way again. If you could actually see your energy the way the universe sees it, you would never question the power of gratitude again. Not because it's noble, not because it's virtuous, but because it's a command, a vibrational instruction, a frequency that tells the quantum field, lock in this version of me, collapse this timeline, align reality with this state I'm holding right now. Gratitude is not something you feel after you get what you want. It's the signal that tells the field what you want is already here. And that signal has a shape. It has a measurable form. Your thoughts are electric. Your emotions are magnetic. When you combine them, they create what's called a toroidal field around your body. It's a dynamic, moving bubble of energy that scientists can measure. The HeartMath Institute has done extensive research on this. They've shown that when a person enters a genuine state of appreciation or gratitude, the heart enters what's called coherence. And this isn't poetic language. This is biological precision. The rhythm of your heart becomes smooth. Your brain waves synchronize. Your entire nervous system shifts out of stress and into regulation. Why does this matter? Because your electromagnetic field becomes coherent. And a coherent field doesn't just feel good. It broadcasts order into the quantum soup of possibility. It tells reality, I'm ready, I'm stable, I'm aligned. Deliver what matches this frequency. So gratitude isn't emotional fluff. It's a neurochemical reset. When you're in a state of stress, which is where most people live by default, your body is in survival mode. Cortisol floods your system. Your mind races. Your body tightens. Your field becomes noisy, chaotic, scrambled. And in that noise, no matter how much you visualize or affirm or write down your goals, your signal is weak. The field can't stabilize around chaos. It waits for coherence. But when you drop into gratitude, real, heartfelt gratitude, your brain waves shift. You move out of beta, which is the state of stress and overthinking, and into alpha and even theta, which are states of calm awareness and deep receptivity. Your heart rhythm balances. Your body starts producing oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin. You literally become a walking chemistry lab of peace. And that peace is not passive. It's not weak. It's magnetic. It's instructive. It's the exact signal the universe has been waiting for to activate the outcome you've been asking for. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine your energy is like a song. Every thought you think is a note. Every emotion you feel is a tone. When you're anxious, when you're worried, when you're caught in fear or impatience, you're playing dissonant chords. The melody is off. It's jarring. It's incomplete. But gratitude? Gratitude is harmony. It's the chorus of your soul singing, I am whole. I am aligned. I am ready. And the quantum field doesn't respond to how loud you sing. It responds to how clear the harmony is. You don't need to scream your desires into the void. You just need to resonate cleanly. And gratitude brings that clarity every single time. Now let's get practical. You've probably heard the advice to keep a gratitude journal. But what nobody tells you is why it actually works. When you sit down and consciously write out what you're grateful for, you're not just making a list. You're shifting your perceptual filters. Specifically, you're activating something in your brain called the reticular activating system. It's the part of your brain that decides what to focus on. It's like a gatekeeper. It filters out most of the sensory input coming at you every second and only lets in what it deems important. When you focus on what you already have, when you write it down and feel it, Your reticular activating system starts filtering for more of it. You begin seeing opportunities you missed before. You notice synchronicities. You attract situations that match the frequency you've been practicing. The journal itself isn't magic. Your shifted awareness is. But here's the part most spiritual content won't tell you. Gratitude isn't always easy, especially when your external reality contradicts your desire. When the bank account is still low. When the relationship is still broken. When the future still feels uncertain. That's when most people abandon the vibration. They say, "How can I be grateful when nothing's changed yet?" And that's the test. That's the moment where real creators are born. Can you hold the frequency even when the facts say otherwise? Because the field doesn't collapse based on facts. It collapses based on frequency. When you feel gratitude before the evidence appears, you become a quantum outlier. You're telling the universe, "I trust so deeply that I don't even need proof anymore. I am the proof." And the universe, which is always obedient to coherence, responds by rearranging matter around your state of being. Gratitude becomes gravity. It pulls your reality into alignment with your vibration. Let's bring in some neuroscience here. Studies in neuroplasticity show that repeated emotional states hardwire new neural pathways. When you practice gratitude consistently, you're not just shifting your mood for a moment, you're rewiring your identity. You start associating yourself with abundance, with peace, with love. You stop identifying with lack. And once your identity changes, your choices change. And when your choices change, your entire timeline does too. Gratitude isn't a trick to feel better temporarily. It's a strategy for becoming someone else entirely, the version of you who's already living your dream reality. Think about it. Do you think that version of you feels desperate? Or do they feel blessed? Do they spend their days obsessing over what's missing? Or do they spend their days basking in what's already present? Your answer to that question determines the timeline you're tuning into, because the field only reflects what you consistently radiate. Here's the mystery nobody talks about. Gratitude doesn't just shift your emotional state, it shifts your probability field. In the quantum realm, all outcomes already exist. Every version of your life is already playing out, somewhere in the field of infinite potential. Gratitude collapses the probability wave toward the one you're emotionally aligned with. That's not theory, that's observable behavior. Scientists have shown that a subject's expectation and emotional state literally changes particle behavior just by observing it. Your gratitude is a form of quantum observation, one that encodes the feeling of "it is done." And when that feeling becomes stable, when it becomes your baseline, manifestation stops being something you chase. It becomes something inevitable. So what do you do now? You don't need more rituals. You don't need more steps. You need to feel better sooner. You need to choose gratitude not as a reaction, but as your reality. Start your day by saying thank you for what hasn't arrived yet. Feel into the vibration of already having received it. Walk with the posture of someone who already has it. Speak like it's already yours. Not to fake it, but to be it. Because when your biology aligns with your belief, the field doesn't respond with delay. It responds with direction. And this is just the beginning of what gratitude can do. In the next part, we're going to explore how gratitude doesn't just shift your energy once, but builds momentum. You're about to discover the gratitude loop, the self-reinforcing cycle that accelerates everything. And why once it starts, nothing can pull you back. There's a moment when everything shifts. It's subtle, almost invisible at first. But once it happens, momentum takes over. You stop wanting and start embodying. You stop hoping and start remembering. You stop trying to manifest and you simply start receiving. This shift happens because of what I call the gratitude loop. It's a self-reinforcing cycle where appreciation creates alignment. Alignment creates results. And results deepen your appreciation even more. It's a virtuous spiral. And once you step into it, it begins pulling you into higher timelines without any force at all. But to enter this loop, You have to do something the ego absolutely hates. You have to feel thankful for what hasn't shown up yet. You have to thank reality before reality gives you permission to. Let me break this down. When you feel grateful before something manifests, you're sending a very specific signal to the quantum field. You're saying, "This is my current identity. This is who I am now." You begin stabilizing a new energetic signature, not the signature of someone seeking, but the signature of someone who already is. And once you're radiating that signal consistently, the field has no choice but to collapse around it. And here's where it gets really powerful. Once the manifestation starts showing signs in your life, small synchronicities, unexpected opportunities, subtle shifts in how things feel, your gratitude intensifies. Not because the evidence appeared, but because it confirms what your energy already knew. This creates the feedback loop. Gratitude leads to coherence. Coherence leads to manifestation. Manifestation deepens gratitude. Gratitude amplifies coherence even more, and the cycle accelerates. Every time you reinforce gratitude, you amplify the emotional imprint of having already received. Every time that imprint strengthens, your field gets more coherent. And a coherent field doesn't just influence reality, it reorganizes it. Let's bring the science in again. Your reticular activating system in your brain acts as a filter. It decides what sensory input to prioritize. When you prime it with gratitude, it starts looking for confirmation, not just passively noticing things, but actively scanning for matches to your emotional state. The more grateful you are, the more aligned experiences you'll notice, which feeds your belief. Belief feeds emotion. Emotion feeds the field, and the field feeds your timeline. It becomes exponential. This is why people who live in authentic gratitude seem lucky. It's not luck. It's alignment repeated so often that it becomes automatic. They've entered the gratitude loop, and that loop shifts their baseline vibration permanently. But here's where most people interrupt the loop. They wait for external evidence before giving thanks. This delays the frequency, and when the frequency is delayed, the field delays in response. What they don't realize is this. Gratitude is the gravity of manifestation. It pulls your desired outcome toward you, not because you're worthy, but because you're now vibrating in resonant match with it. Picture your energy field like a galaxy. When you're in a state of lack, your energy is dispersed, scattered, floating debris, no center, no gravity, just chaos. But when you drop into real gratitude, you create a gravitational center, a coherent core, and everything that matches your vibration begins to orbit toward you, not randomly, magnetically. Gratitude becomes the organizing principle of your entire field, and the bigger it grows, the faster things spiral in. Now let's talk about identity. The key to maintaining the gratitude loop is making gratitude your default state. Not just a practice you do in the morning. It has to become part of your identity. You have to become someone who's always finding things to be grateful for, not as a task, but as a lens, a way of seeing reality itself. This isn't about denying pain. It's not about pretending everything's perfect. It's about recognizing that even in contrast, something is working for you. Even in delay, something is preparing you. When you see that, when you start thanking not only the light but also the lessons, you reach a new level of quantum maturity. And at that level, things speed up, because at that level, you're not just manifesting isolated events anymore. You're collapsing into a whole new version of yourself, and that version is magnetic. That version doesn't need to attract. That version emits a signal so clean, so centered, so saturated with gratitude, that timelines rearrange themselves to match it. But this loop can also collapse. If you start doubting, if you start questioning, if you start measuring how much progress you've made, you collapse the energy back into separation. Gratitude becomes conditional again, and conditional gratitude is just disguised expectation. It carries the vibration of, "I'll be grateful when," which tells the field it's not here yet. To stay in the loop, You have to remove the conditions. You have to feel thankful regardless. Gratitude without needing proof, that's the sweet spot. Because when you stop needing proof, you become the proof. You radiate stability, and the field cannot ignore stability. It must respond to it. Let me ask you this. What would your day feel like if you started every morning with, "Thank you for everything that's coming today, seen and unseen"? What if you moved through your schedule not looking for problems, but looking for patterns of alignment already blooming beneath the surface? What if instead of asking, "What do I need to fix?" you asked, "What can I appreciate right now?" That shift would change your field, and your field would change your future. This is how you build momentum. Gratitude at first is a choice, but with practice, it becomes a conditioned state. And when it's conditioned deeply enough, it becomes your baseline, your personality, your identity. And identity is what the universe responds to. You're not manifesting with your words. You're manifesting with your nervous system, with your felt frequency, with your gratitude field. And that field, once activated and stabilized, becomes your new gravitational center. But there's still one piece most people overlook. Gratitude is powerful, yes, but what happens when you're still entangled in lack? When old programs pull you back into waiting, needing, chasing, that's what we're going to address next. Because once you learn how to use gratitude to collapse lack itself, you'll never be held back again. If you've ever felt stuck, like no matter how much you visualize or meditate or try to align, nothing truly moves, it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because you're still vibrating in lack. And often, you don't even realize it. Lack doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. It hides behind spiritual language. I'm manifesting. I'm working on receiving. I'm aligning my vibration. But underneath those words is waiting, watching, wanting. A quiet but constant emotional message that says, "It's not here yet." And that message is powerful, not because it's true, but because it becomes the signal you're programming into reality. Remember, the quantum field doesn't speak English. It speaks emotion. It speaks vibration. And your consistent emotional baseline is the instruction set you're feeding into the system. If that baseline is lack, then no matter how eloquent your affirmations are, the universe reflects back. She's someone who's still becoming, not someone who already is. That's the truth most people avoid, because it's easier to keep trying than to sit in stillness and face the emotional habit of not having. It's easier to stay busy than to ask yourself, do I even know how it feels to already have what I want? But here's where gratitude becomes the great disruptor. Gratitude ends the search. It tells the field, this is complete, I already have it. And in that moment, in that honest, full-body emotional certainty, lack has no place to live. It's burned up in the vibration of appreciation. Gratitude doesn't fix lack, it transcends it. Think of it this way. Lack is a frequency of distance. It creates emotional space between you and your desire. The more you feel it, the more you stretch out the timeline. The manifestation stays out there, far away, always just beyond reach. Gratitude collapses the distance. It doesn't reach. It doesn't chase. It anchors. It pulls the desired reality into your now by becoming its emotional signature before the evidence ever appears. This is the shift most people never make, because it requires letting go of the comfort of craving, the identity of the seeker, the story of one day when it finally arrives, and instead, stepping into something far more vulnerable, the emotional exposure of already having. Can you feel abundant while the numbers still say otherwise? Can you feel loved while the partner hasn't appeared yet? Can you celebrate the arrival before the arrival? That's mastery. That's magnetic. That's manifestation. And here's the most radical part. Gratitude doesn't just make you feel better, it makes you unavailable for lack. The two states cannot coexist. When you're truly in gratitude, lack dissolves. Not suppressed, not ignored. but overwritten. Gratitude becomes your new emotional operating system. Let's pause. What has been your dominant emotion this week? Has it been trust or waiting, sufficiency, or silently hoping something changes? If you're honest, you might see the subtle hum of lack beneath the surface. And that's okay. This awareness is your pivot point, because now you can choose something higher, not by forcing it, but by feeling it. Feel the version of you who's already living it. Feel their relief, their ease, their peace, their knowing. Now feel thankful for that version, not because they're better, but because they already exist inside you, waiting to be felt, not achieved. Let this be your turning point. In the comments right now, drop one word that captures the energy you're choosing to carry forward. Maybe it's alignment. Maybe it's ease. Maybe it's power. Maybe it's something uniquely yours. Let that word be a small but profound declaration, a signal you send not just into this space, but into the quantum field itself. Let it anchor you into this new frequency. Because once you claim that identity, the field begins to respond. Gratitude becomes your atmosphere. Lack loses its grip. The tension fades, and what once felt far starts to feel familiar. Here's the deeper truth. Lack is not a result of what's missing. It's a result of what you're focusing on. Shift your focus to the smallest possible alignment, the breath, the sun, the heartbeat, and suddenly gratitude has space to enter. And when it does, it brings friends, momentum, clarity, synchronicity, direction. You no longer act out of need. You act from abundance. You no longer chase signs. Life becomes the sign. You no longer search for clues. You become the evidence. All because you chose to stop waiting and start thanking. But we're not done yet, because gratitude does something even more mystical and more scientific. It doesn't just cancel lack. It selects timelines. It's not just an emotional state. It's a quantum selector. And when you see what gratitude does to your place in the multiverse, you'll never treat it as just a nice feeling again. That's where we're going next. And the field is already waiting for you there. What if every version of your life already exists? Not metaphorically, literally. One where you're still struggling. One where you're free. One where you're loved deeply. Another where you feel invisible. One where your dreams are real. Not imagined. Not far away, but running parallel to this exact moment. Quantum physics calls this the many worlds interpretation. The idea that all possible outcomes already exist, branching infinitely. And you, the observer, are constantly selecting which version becomes real based on your state of being. This means you're not manifesting your dream life from scratch. You're collapsing into the version of reality where it already exists. But here's the question. What determines which version you collapse into? The answer is as simple as it is revolutionary: emotional alignment. And few emotional states are more powerful for alignment than gratitude. Gratitude isn't just a nice practice or spiritual virtue. In quantum terms, it's a selector, a frequency signature that locates and activates the timeline where you already have the thing you desire. You're not asking for it. You're not pulling it toward you. You're choosing to occupy the vibrational address of the version of you that has already received it. Let me make this tangible. Every possible version of your life is encoded in the field, like songs on a cosmic radio. You don't create the song. You tune to it. You don't force the melody. You become resonant with it. And gratitude? Gratitude is the dial. It fine-tunes your internal vibration to match the reality where what you desire is already true. The moment you feel gratitude for what hasn't arrived yet, as if it already has, you've changed your position in the quantum field. Let that sink in. Gratitude shifts you not just emotionally, but dimensionally. And the field, which is neutral and immediate, doesn't question your reasons. It responds to your resonance. If you radiate the frequency of, "I already have it," the field says, let's collapse the timeline where that's true. This is not magic, this is quantum coherence. And coherence is the key. Gratitude generates coherence, not only in your emotional state, but in your electromagnetic field. We've already seen that heart math studies prove this. Your heart becomes rhythmically aligned. Your brain quiets into alpha. You move out of survival and into signal clarity. And signal clarity is how you lock into a single timeline amidst the infinite. Now here's the part most manifesting methods don't tell you. It's not your desire that collapses the wave. It's your assumption. And true assumption is not mental, it's emotional. It's vibrational. You become so grateful, so steady in your emotional certainty, that your system stabilizes in a new identity. Not the one who's on the way, but the one who's already arrived. That's what Neville Goddard meant when he said you must feel the wish fulfilled. Not speak it, not repeat it. Feel it. Live from it. Give thanks for it, even when no evidence exists. Especially when no evidence exists. Because the absence of evidence is the greatest invitation to test your identity. To ask, am I still tuning to the timeline of desire? Or have I slipped back into the timeline of lack? And that question, asked from deep awareness, is a portal to the version of you that chooses timelines through presence, not performance, through resonance, not resistance. Now pause for a moment. Think about something you've been trying to manifest. Something big, a quantum leap in your finances, your relationship, your sense of purpose. Can you feel, even briefly, what it would be like to already live in that version of reality? Not to visualize it from a distance, but to step into it from within. To thank life as if the leap has already happened. To breathe as if the shift has already landed. To walk as if the version of you that already has it is now the one walking. That moment of emotional certainty, if you can stabilize it, becomes the collapsing force. The field does not resist that kind of coherence. It doesn't delay it. It organizes around it. This is the architecture of selection. And it's not governed by your calendar. It's not linear. It's vibrational. Quantum jumps happen not when you work harder, but when you vibrate cleaner. And gratitude is the cleanser, the purifier, the tuner. So no, you're not attracting a better future. You're choosing it, not with your logic, but with your frequency. This is why people often experience sudden shifts after a deep emotional release, a moment where they break through resistance and drop into genuine appreciation, not for a result, but for the now. That frequency snaps them into a different version of reality, one where things move faster, flow smoother, open wider, not because they tried harder, but because they matched a new path. And gratitude was the access point. Now here's the final twist. The timeline you're longing for is also longing for you. It's not passive, it's magnetic. But it cannot merge with a version of you stuck in doubt, or delay, or waiting for proof. It can only meet the version of you who's already living it emotionally. So how do you become that version? You stop chasing evidence. You stop needing guarantees. You sit in silence and say, "Thank you for the reality that's already mine. Thank you for the version of me who already lives it. I feel her. I honor her. I am her." And when you do that, when you feel that, something begins to crack open. Reality bends. The shift begins. Before we go further, I want to invite you into something real. If you've been feeling like this makes sense, if a part of you is realizing your own power right now, tap like if you just had an aha moment. Because like attracts like. And subscribe. Stay with this space. Grow with us. Also, join our manifestation club on gogetter.au. Get inspired by reading manifestation stories and share your story to inspire others. This isn't just a channel, this is a frequency. If you felt a nudge while watching, you're already tuned in. And in the final chapter, you'll learn how to stabilize this vibration as a permanent part of your identity. Not a practice you visit, but a state you live from. Because gratitude isn't just how you manifest, it's who you become when you stop resisting your power. There comes a point in your journey when gratitude is no longer something you practice. It's something you are. It's not something you visit in the morning and forget by afternoon. It's not a reaction to blessings or a temporary emotional high. It's not another tool in your manifestation routine. It becomes your baseline frequency, the vibration you return to. Not just when things go right, but especially when they don't. Because in that state, you're no longer waiting for the universe to prove something. You're embodying the knowing that it already has. This is what it means to become the vibration of gratitude. Let's be honest. Many people will never reach this point. Not because they can't, but because they're still negotiating with the field. Still saying, I'll be grateful when it shows up. Still operating under the illusion that reality must change first so they can finally feel safe. But the quantum field is not moved by negotiation. It's moved by identity. And once gratitude becomes your identity, you no longer live by cause and effect. You become the cause. You start influencing reality from the inside out. You create from coherence, not chaos. You stop chasing. You start radiating. Let's bring this into your body right now. Close your eyes for a moment. Drop into your breath. Feel the space behind your chest. Not the thoughts in your mind, but the vibration in your heart. Imagine a golden current moving through your chest. Not outward, but inward. A soft pulse. Steady, silent, peaceful. This is gratitude. Now, without needing to name anything specific, allow yourself to feel thankful. Not because something just happened, but because you're alive, because you can choose. Because in this exact moment, you're connected to a field of infinite potential, and you can feel it moving through you. You don't need evidence. You are the evidence. That's the vibration of gratitude. And from this place, you don't ask. You affirm. You don't wish. You remember. You don't try to become. You be. Let this feeling stretch through your nervous system, down your spine, into your breath. Let it rewrite your posture, your thoughts, your tone of voice. Because when you walk through life as the vibration of gratitude, you don't have to do as much. Reality starts meeting you halfway, not because you forced it, but because you stabilized a frequency that matches your chosen timeline. This is the turning point. And yes, it takes practice. It takes returning again and again, especially when life pulls you into fear. But over time, something beautiful happens. Your nervous system adapts. Your emotions recalibrate. Gratitude stops being something you try to feel. It becomes something you can't not feel. It becomes home. Now listen closely. The version of you that lives in total coherence, the one who creates effortlessly, attracts naturally, lives peacefully, that version is not far away. It's not waiting for the right timing or the perfect alignment. That version of you is already encoded in the field, and you connect to them through feeling, through presence, through identity, through gratitude, because gratitude is the signature vibration of your highest self. And once you hold that signature long enough, your external world can't help but reflect it, not because you demanded it, but because you became it. In the comments, drop one thing you truly want to manifest, and most importantly, why is it important to you? Let this be a small but profound declaration, a signal to the universe you send not just in this space, but into the quantum field. Drop it in the comments. I'm giving away 2 one-on-one free sessions to help you bring it to life. Be honest. Be you. Now, if this journey resonated with something deep inside you, something ancient, something ready, then what's awakening in you is not just awareness, it's remembrance. And remembrance is the foundation of power. So if you feel called to stabilize this frequency even further, to embody it not just once, but consistently across your relationships, your finances, your purpose, and your identity, then I invite you to go deeper. The Awaken Your Quantum Power ebook was created for this exact purpose. It's not just a read, it's a realignment. Inside, you'll find practices, activations, and frameworks that help you not only understand quantum manifestation, but live it, day by day, breath by breath. It's your next step if you're ready to collapse old versions of yourself and shift fully into coherence, simplicity, and magnetic clarity. You'll find the link to the ebook in the pinned comment below. Follow it when your intuition says yes, because the version of you who is already living your highest timeline, they're waiting. Not somewhere far away, but inside you right now. Alive, grateful, ready. Make sure you share this video with your loved ones. You might just be a blessing in disguise for them. For you, it may be just sharing, but for someone in need, it may mean everything. And their gratitude will increase the positivity flowing back to you. Be the friend who shares breakthroughs, not just memes. Share this with someone who's stuck. Real ones share value. Pass this on if you're that kind of human. And from here, everything changes.